Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions. Reliance Bank, your locally owned hometown bank, is pleased to sponsor today's Going Beyond radio show. With 20 locations throughout the St. Louis area, Reliance Bank is making money a little friendlier.
Member FDIC and equal housing lender.
We're going beyond.
Today on Going Beyond.
Trees are really one of the best stormwater abatement tools out there because the tree's canopy captures at least 50, if not 75% of that rain that's falling to the ground. It's a way more efficient stormwater management tool than any of the concrete, that type of stormwater infrastructure we have in place now.
Regardless of who you are, you want where you work or where you represent, you want it to be in order and nice. I think it's important.
Chris Krehmeyer asks about the community, the trees, and the collaborative solution of Hanley Hills.
Beyond Housing is going beyond.
That and more ahead today on Going Beyond with Chris Krehmeyer, right after this.
My name is Maria Chappelle-Nadal, and I represent the 14th District in St. Louis County, State Senator. I believe that music inspires you to do amazing things, and I believe in going beyond.
We're going beyond. Welcome to this edition of Going Beyond. I'm your host, Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing. On today's show, we're going to be talking about something a little different. We're going to talk about trees in community. I know that's not a topic that we raise frequently, but I think you'll learn some very interesting things about the importance of taking care of trees and what they can do, and in our case, how a lot of small municipalities have worked together to secure a grant that's going to do some great things for their communities today and well down the road. Joining me on today's show is Mark Gruber, Urban and Community Forester for the Missouri Department of Conservation. Mark, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
So real quickly for our listeners, tell us a quick snapshot. What is the Missouri Department of Conservation?
Well, the Missouri Department of Conservation is a state agency, and we're tasked with the care of forest, fish, and wildlife in the state of Missouri.
All right, so what we were able to do with a number of our communities in the 24-1 initiative, I think we had 8 cities actually applied together and received the largest grant given to communities, a $25,000 grant to do a tree inventory. And again, I think to some of our listeners, they may not have ever heard of a tree inventory. So could you tell them a little bit about the grant and then exactly what a tree inventory is and what the department believes it will do for a local community?
Absolutely. Well, our grant program is the TRIM grant program, which stands for Tree Resource Improvement and Maintenance, and the grant's designed to assist communities or organizations that maintain trees on public properties, so schools, things like that, and assist these organizations with the care, maintenance, and really management of those trees. The grant program really came about because funding to take care of trees in public areas, as you mentioned, is not something that a lot of people think of right off the top of their heads. It's not something that they think about that cities may be tasked with the care of, but trees and organizations that do manage trees on public property, that's a significant investment actually in taxpayer dollars that can unfortunately quickly become a liability if they're not cared for well.
Because what winds up happening is you don't take care of them, the tree gets sick, the tree dies, and then you wind up after the fact dealing with it when something bad has occurred versus taking care of it earlier in its life to make sure you don't have to have that expense as frequently.
Absolutely, yeah. It's very exciting, and a lot of folks like to get excited about planting trees. What unfortunately happens a lot of times is we get so excited about that we don't think about what has to happen throughout that tree's lifespan to make sure that it is well taken care of and an asset to the community rather than a liability. And that's exactly where the inventory idea comes in. And I like to paint the picture this way. If you ran, say, a grocery store and you didn't have any idea of the products that you had on your shelves, you probably wouldn't do a very good job of running a grocery store. You wouldn't know when you were running out of things. You wouldn't know when you had to order more items or have the right items that people wanted to buy. And it's really the same thing with trees. You need to know what kind of trees you have out there and what condition they're in to be able to forecast how much maintenance they need. Do you need to plant more? Do you have trees that need to be taken down? again, just to get an idea of the actual amount of money, not only that you have invested in that part of a community's infrastructure, but also how big of an asset that part of the infrastructure actually is.
And when you guys first heard of, there's going to be, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 communities applying for a grant together, was that something unique that you hadn't seen before?
Absolutely, and we were thrilled to death. It's something that a large part of my job is to get communities interested in this grant program and take advantage of the money that we have available. And it's amazing sometimes we have to really work the trenches to get communities interested in getting money that's available out there on occasion. But when we hear about communities that are joining together to work towards a common goal, that just, again, you think about it as a taxpayer, which, I am one too, that makes me excited because that takes an amount of money and just absolutely really dramatically increases the impact and the significance that investment, that taxpayer investment has.
And again, I think for us, it also says there's, I think, a overgeneralized belief that small communities are inefficient and ineffective, and what we've been trying to do with all of our partners in the 24 cities in our particular initiative is to say, while being small gives you opportunities to be inefficient and ineffective, it does not mean you're categorically so. So, by bringing these 8 communities together to apply for the grant, we again say, if folks are wise and they think about their collective future together, you can do great things. So we were excited to have the folks apply. My bet is we're going to get another large crop that we're going to give you another application in this next funding cycle. And then the other great news about this is while going through the beginning stages doesn't guarantee additional resources for the care and maintenance of the trees, as you talked about, it clearly gives us a great opportunity. So the inventory has been done, so we have clarity on what the needs are. So if these communities want to go back to the department and ask for some additional resources, it gives them the opportunity to do so.
Yes, it's the first step. The inventory is the first step that we always try to get communities to do for a multitude of benefits. But if nothing else, it's an excellent planning tool. Again, if you don't know how many police cars you have, how many street lights you have to maintain, if you don't have an idea of what that is, there's no way for you to accurately forecast, the costs of maintaining all of those different things, which, it's incumbent upon a community to be able to do those things. So that's how important an inventory is. And
I, like many others, didn't really realize the residual positive impacts that having strong and healthy trees in your community can provide. There was some information that was shared of us around streets, that the shade of the trees and again shielding the streets from in essence the environmental factors will stretch out the life cycle of streets, which I thought was just fascinating because it never once dawned on me that the trees can help the streets last longer. So talk a little bit about that and maybe a few other things that I know you guys have done a lot of research on, what a healthy a tree environment can do for a local community and its infrastructure.
Sure, it's amazing. We do talk about when we have Earth Day and Arbor Day events and things like that. We do talk about trees provide us with oxygen, they provide homes for wildlife and things like that, and we talk about some of those intrinsic benefits, but we don't think about the real dollar value that asset that tree actually has for an individual homeowner as well as the community at large. And one example that you mentioned is shading the asphalt just has been shown time and time again through a lot of pretty exhaustive research to increase the lifespan of asphalt by 50% because it protects it from the sun's rays beating down on it, which since asphalt's a petroleum product, it breaks it down quicker. So that shade actually makes the asphalt last longer. Again, things we don't think about. Stormwater is another huge benefit that trees provide, and stormwater has been a real hot-button issue throughout the St. Louis area with some of the flash flooding events that have happened over the years where we've lost millions, if not billions of dollars in structures. There's been loss of life and injury and things like that. Trees are really one of the best stormwater abatement tools out there because the tree's canopy captures at least, in most rain events, at least 50, if not 75% of that rain that's falling to the ground, and then allows it to seep into the ground, or it might evaporate up into the atmosphere. It's a way more efficient stormwater management tool than any of the concrete and that type of stormwater infrastructure we have in place now. And what's exciting for us is that sewer districts like Metropolitan Sewer District and things like that are acknowledging those benefits now and recognizing that and actually working with communities and working to improve what we call the green stormwater infrastructure, because it does do such an excellent job of capturing stormwater and preventing those unfortunate events that may occur from time to time with the big storms that we have.
Yeah, that's why I love my job. I get to learn all these interesting, fascinating things you would never know. So again, we have our 8 communities that have secured the grant. The inventory process is underway. I know they're excited about it. They're excited about the next steps as well. Mark Gruber, Urban and Community Forester for the Missouri Department of Conservation. Thanks so much for being on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
To continue our conversation about the tree grant and municipalities working together, I'm going to bring in Ms. Joyce Lee from the city of Hanley Hills and Caroline Band from the Beyond Housing staff to talk a little more about the municipality's role in bringing these resources to bear and showing how we work together. Caroline?
Hi, welcome this morning to Going Beyond. This is Caroline Band, and this is an opportunity for us to talk about how we help entire communities become a better place to live. Today with me in the studio, I have Miss Joyce Lee. She is a clerk for the village of Hanley Hills. Joyce, can you tell me a little bit about your city?
Yes, we have a population of about 2,000 people, so we are very small. We have approximately 950 houses within the village, but we have so many trees, and the village was just needing a little bit of help and assistance. So being in partnership with Beyond Housing in 24-1, it actually worked out that we received a partial grant from Department of Conservation through Beyond Housing. So we were excited, and I think it'll be very good for us because they told us what our trees really needed and how many trees we had. So we are really excited.
So why trees, Joyce?
Our
What's
residents, they love their trees. Some of them are more nature-wise, so they like the trees to look a certain way. If the tree is dying, they would love for us to get rid of it and put another one up. It was just something about trees that beautify the area. It makes it look better. I mean, if you got a beautiful tree, it's like, okay, life is good. And that's how the residents feel.
That's great. So tell me about this grant. How many municipalities were on this grant? And what were you able to do together?
We had about 10 cities that was awarded the grant. So actually through Beyond Housing, they actually helped us because I would say probably maybe 4 or 5 of the cities were smaller cities that would have never probably applied for the grant because we wouldn't have been able to get it. So through Beyond Housing, we had the opportunity not only to receive it, but to partner up so that everybody got to receive a piece of the grant.
Did you guys save money? I mean, we always talk about money, right?
Yes, we saved a lot of money because compared to last year, we didn't go in with Beyond Housing. We went through Gamma Trees for tree trimming and like that. We spent, probably about $40,000 alone, whereas with this grant, we saved half of that. So it's actually beneficial for the smaller areas. Now, of course, your larger cities have more to work with, but for your smaller areas, they needed all the help they could get to try to keep their trees in line.
Right. And so this was an inventory grant, right? So it gives you kind of a map. I see you got a map here on the table of all the places of the trees. But why is the inventory helpful to you?
It's helpful because it lets us know where we need to begin. Previously, when you go through Gamma Trees and some of the other companies to get your yearly maintenance, they do not go into details about allowing you to know where you need to begin. They just kind of go and say, I'll charge you this, this, and this for this. But it does not direct us as far as keeping up with, okay, start here, then you might want to deal with this, then deal with this. Actually, through Department of Conservation, their company actually let us know, okay, you have 10 critical trees that would need to be cut down. But you also have some that are in poor condition that you also need to deal with, or eventually you'll have more than 10 trees.
Can you talk a little bit about the 24-1 initiative and the mayor's group and kind of what you do and if that's valuable to you?
Okay, with the 24 initiative and the mayor's group, it's actually informative because it puts all the cities together to actually kind of brainstorm. We get to talk about things. We get to find out information about productive programs for our cities and our villages. It actually helps us to grow as a community of knowing one another. Sometimes we don't know one another. We see each other in a book to know that, oh, that area is Paigedale or that area is Bell Ridge. But with the mayor's meeting, you're actually coming together, you're brainstorming, you're getting ideas, you're actually reaching out with Beyond Housing to get different opportunities that may not have been presented to your city or your village.
So would you say that you all are better together, but because you do this voluntarily as opposed to because you're forced to do it? It's
better together, and you're actually volunteering because you want to get to know. You know, when you were young, your mom told you if you know better, you do better. It's kind of like that. You're going out there for the knowledge and the education so that you can do better to build your community. Regardless of who you are, you want where you work or where you represent, you want it to be in order and nice. So I think it's important.
Reliance Bank is pleased to sponsor today's Going Beyond radio show. With 20 locations throughout the St. Louis area, Reliance Bank, your locally owned hometown bank, is making money a little friendlier.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
We're going beyond.
Going Beyond is a presentation of Beyond Housing, helping entire communities become better places to live with RareGem Productions. Proudly promoting, presenting, and producing positive programming.
Neighborhood is where you live, and we want to keep it strong and vibrant. This is Chris Krehmeyer with Beyond Housing. We are going beyond.
Chris Krehmeyer, President and CEO of Beyond Housing, located at 4156 Manchester, phone number 314-533-0600. The only organization in the St. Louis region that offers access to affordable housing. Wherever we work, our goal is to help transform people, families, and communities so that they achieve the skills, strategies, resources, and commitment to succeed for the long term. See our work at beyondhousing.org. Podcast for Going Beyond can be heard, downloaded, and shared by visiting hallelujah1600.com. Listed under the music tab, on demand. Going Beyond is another positive production of RareGem Productions.